Greetings, everyone. My name is Larry Cole. I'm the host of COVID Impact 360 Conversations. Today, I have an old friend with me from the UK. His name is Nigel. And Nigel and I go back a few years in business, and I'll explain that in a minute. But good afternoon to you, Nigel. It's good morning for me, but good afternoon to you.
Yeah, and Larry, good morning to you. How do I find you in freezing BC at the moment?
Well, I'll tell you something. It's pretty darn warm here for this time of the year.
Wow,
The sun came out yesterday. No rain, which is very strange for Victoria, but no, it's all good. So
fantastic!
if you don't mind, Nigel, I'm going to kind of explain and give people a backdrop as to why we're having today's session and how we met.
Please
You
do.
good with
Thank you
that?
so much.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Thank you
you
so
bet.
much.
So Nigel and I go back to a few years ago. I was involved in developing antimicrobial property type of copper that you would put on surfaces, and what it was all about at the very beginnings. At the beginning of the pandemic, we thought that you caught COVID from touching things, which you can do, but as it turned out, it ended up being a respiratory disease. And Nigel and I were discussing. It was at the time it was called Q grip, and he had a business in the UK, which he'll explain later. But that's kind of how we met, and then we became fast friends. We had a lot in common, and then the pandemic hit, and things went sideways in terms of both of us becoming sick. But and the purpose of today's show is Nigel, through his own hard work, has begun to recover, and he has a very unique story to tell. And I wanted to give him my platform to tell this story because with a half a billion people now having this particular problem called long COVID or post-COVID, post-viral COVID. I don't know how many people you can help, Nigel, but I'm sure you can help a few. So I'm gonna pass it back to you, and I'm gonna ask if you can give us a little bit of pre-pandemic Nigel, and then pandemic Nigel, and then what happened to you, and then we'll kind of go on from there. You good with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I can remember us meeting through the LinkedIn, I believe, and what it was is that I'd managed to get an opportunity to forward a proposal for QGrip with your good self and to the NHS Scotland, which is to anyone
Yeah.
who's not in the UK, NHS is the National Health Service. And we got on very well. And I was positioning a product which I was working with a Swiss company. I was absolutely enamored about your product, your Q Grip. And together we collaborated to get an opportunity with NHS Scotland. So that's how we first met. And as you said, Larry, very kindly, I think we hit the ground running together. We were, I think we were sort of on the same song sheet
Yeah.
from the start, and
Yeah.
we got on. And listen, to be quite honest with you, Larry, I mean, who can't get on with your likes of Larry Cole? You are generally a lovely man, and I
Too
can't express
kind.
that. Well, no, not at all. You're a gentleman, there's we're old school, and I think that's
Yeah.
that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Agreed.
So so there we were, and then you know, and in those days, Larry, I was a fit 60-year-old who, as I've mentioned to you before, I used to run every other day, and when I meant running, it was about 8-10 k every other day. If not, I was in the gym, so I was quite a
Yeah.
fit sort of active guy, even for my age. And all of a sudden, I was hit by this COVID, and it completely destroyed me in 2 weeks. Um, I,
Yeah.
I went from being fit to barely existing, and I was hospitalised. I was that bad, and I lost the likes of, I think it was about 12 pounds in about 10 days.
Wow.
Um, my
Yeah.
my whole body was just riddled with pain and heat. I can't tell you, the heat was just so bad that I managed to get some cold towels from the freezer to put them on me, lying naked on the floor every night, just to try and keep on living, if I was being honest with you.
Yeah.
But it came so bad that my blood pressure was right on the floor, completely dehydrated, and my temperature was through the ceiling. That I was hospitalised, and obviously they managed to get me back. And after a couple of weeks, I was back home and started to look to recover again. So that's where I was. I was looking to recover. I'd got through this. My COVID had gone. But do you know what, Larry? I never got better.
Yeah. I know.
I, I,
I
I never
know.
got better. It was purely about every morning I'd wake up and you know, and this went on for a long time. I'd wake up and the first thing I wanted to do is that I wanted to go to sleep for a month. Not a day, not a week. I wanted to go back to sleep for a month. I was that
Yeah.
exhausted. And the pain was just in my mouth, in my throat, in my neck, and in my lungs. They were obviously inflamed, okay, through
Yeah.
COVID, but they were so bad that even in just breathing in and breathing out, I was in so much pain and agony. And if I was having a conversation like I'm having with you now, is that it would hurt, it would literally hurt. But fortunately, I've been working for myself. So if I had any opportunity, if I was working for someone else, I wouldn't have been able to work. My job that day was to get me through that day. And Larry, I can't tell you how bad it was. It went on for one day, it went on for weeks, it went on for months. In fact, it went on for 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
It went on for so long that, I was beside myself in what to do. Now, fair play to the National Health System here. They knew that I was in a bad way, and they reached out to me and gave me all the attention they could give me. They put me on some soft courses. They got me involved in some Zoom meetings where we'd look to try and work with spoons. I don't know if you've come across the spoon scenario.
I have, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's an
where
unusual one.
where you use a spoon if you go downstairs, and you've got 12 spoons to use to help you to get through the day with your
Right.
energy levels. But
Right.
that type of thing, and I've got to rest, etc., etc. So they helped with that, and really they were just doing what they could, was trying to manage me, I suppose. But they also came to me and said, look, we're running a course called Breathe. Now, for all this could help. So Breathe was managed by the English National Opera, which is
Wow.
that I know. I mean, so
Yeah.
we were being coached by what it was is that there'd be 20 of us on a Zoom meeting every one day a week for about 6 to 8 weeks, which was good because there's a lot of camaraderie. You were actually talking to people that were like-minded, that were going through the same issues as you were, that were existing, Larry. That's all we would do, was existing. So I went on this breathing course for some time, and as I say, there was a connection there with people, and so you felt a little bit better. But nevertheless, I didn't get better. That was the crux of the situation. So the format is that I reached out to as many professionals in the national health, in universities, doctors, in order to sort of say, look, I'm happy to be a guinea pig. If you've got something out there that you want to work on with me, I'm happy to do so. I've had quite a good life, Larry, and I think that, if they want to sort of test me out on certain something and it goes wrong, it goes wrong. But all I wanted to do is get better. But if in the process I could help someone else get better, then I'd be really pleased with that, because this feeling of existence was so terrible that my life wasn't worth living, Larry.
Yeah. Know that
Yeah.
feeling.
it's and the existence was just. I actually withdrew from any sort of social meetings. I didn't go out. Because every time I had a conversation with somebody, it would hurt me. The pain was there. Even breathing in and out was pain, as I've mentioned. So, I reached out to all these professions that I'd become a guinea pig for them. I didn't get anything back. So, rather than sort of be someone that would just, give up, I'm not someone that has that. I have got some tenacity about me, Larry, and,
Mm-hmm.
I needed something to work for me. So I needed to think what's going to work for me. And I came across cold water therapy. I mean, Wim Hof was one of the persons that come to mind. I think that's a bit extreme what he does. I think from where I was, but nevertheless, I came across cold water, and I did some research, and there was a lot of people mental health swims, and there's people that again I was anxious and depressed, so I saw people getting better through cold water swimming, their mental health, and I saw that people were using it for migraines, that people were using it for energy. So I thought, well, I can remember that I'd had a holiday in the west coast of Scotland the previous year, and what I did is on that camping holiday is I can remember that I'd gone for a run that morning, and there were no showers around in this wild location in the Scottish Isles, and I decided that I'd hit the water. When I hit that water, that Atlantic coast, wow, was that cold. Automatically, I took a breath in, and oh, jeez, I was like, God, I was like, what? It's a cold shock response. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Cold shock
Yeah.
response. And the body, what happens to the body? The body, when you get a cold shock response, goes into survival mode. And I can remember coming out and drying off. And that survival mode, what it does is it releases a large hit of dopamine and noradrenaline. And I didn't know about this at that time until I've since learned a bit more about the cold water therapy. And I can remember that for 2 hours afterwards, I was actually on a real high. And I think, wow. So my memory thought back to that particular time. So I then incorporated it. This was 2 years into my long COVID, which was about 14 months ago. I started daily cold swimming to start with in the cold water. And then I started to do this at my place of home. Because it's available to you, it's free, it's sustainable, and it's clean. Not many of the rivers and the waters now, I'm afraid to say, in the UK are of swimming quality. Don't get me wrong, there are many, but where I am at the moment, and with the rainfall we have, they're not suitable. So cold water was my first point of choice. And I'll tell you now, cold water in the shower is cold. It can be anywhere between 10 and 15 degrees. So, as I said, I decided to do this, and I started to improve, and I can't tell you how much I improved, not only on a daily and weekly and a monthly basis. It was incredible. I just thought that, don't people know about this? There's so many
Yeah.
people out there that are going through this existence and this long COVID and this terrible pain and discomfort and depression. You know, why don't more people know about this? What's happening? Why isn't the world come alight and alive to this? So, but anyway, I persisted through, and from those initial day of starting that to now, not only have I got my life back, Larry, um, I've trimmed down 20 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I put on the 20 pounds because part of the process with my GP, he suggested that because I was depressed, that I should take sertraline, which is happy pill, basically, which I
Sure.
took for a couple of
Sure.
months when I was bad. All it did was made me fat and numb, and I thought this ain't working. So I came off it. I weaned myself off it straight away. And, so in this 12, 14 months of cold water immersion or therapy or showers, whatever you want to call it, I've got my life back. I can't tell you um, how I feel. It's from going from existence to the energy levels of where I had before, and to being happier. I'm probably in a happier place now, Larry, than I've ever been in my life. And I have had some great and happy times through my life. Don't get me wrong, but I'm in a really good place now, Larry. And, I want to tell everybody that, this is available to them, and that I really want to encourage people that, this is something that they should explore.
So let's talk about that, though. So when I was talking to you yesterday, and we decided that we were going to do this session, there was a couple of bells that went off in my head. You had mentioned to me, like, and the audience won't have a comparative here, but I can tell them that you look great. Like, you look healthy right now, really healthy. You look like a guy that just got out of cold water, which is, I our
Thank you.
cold water here in Victoria is really cold. So I know all about that. But you said yesterday that you decided that, like, for example, alcohol was not a good mix for you. Have you got other examples like that? Like, not only with the cold water, but what other changes have you made? Because I'm prefacing this question around the fact that most people are not aware that when you start to mix in 250 symptoms, you start mixing in comorbidities that people might have. It could be arthritis, it could be autoimmune, it could be any number of issues, diabetes. Um, you start mixing in all of these variables. We know that there is no one size fits all for
Of
managing
course.
long COVID. But when you come across something as simple as this, and I'm really leaning on the simple, we know that the cold water therapy helped you immediately. What other things have you done along with the cold water therapy that you're finding is actually really starting to peak your recovery up?
Well, I think one of the main things that, long COVID, okay, one of the main symptoms of long COVID is fatigue. Okay, it's
Yeah.
probably the number one if we look at the 200 odd symptoms that there are. If you look at fatigue is probably the number one. And I think that if you look at what water does for you, okay, it is the cold shock response, as I said, and the survival mode that the body kicks in and gives you the dopamine and noradrenaline in bundles. What it's done for me is it's allowed me to get my energy back. Okay, and I think that if people can get their energy back, then they can actually do more and achieve more. I think one of the things that people that the medical area suggests is that if you've got fatigue, you should rest. And I think that if you've got issues like depression, for instance, like I had, is one of the ways you can get through depression is to either walk or run or do some exercise. But if you're already fatigued, you can't do that,
That's right.
especially with long
Yeah.
COVID.
Yep.
But cold water cheats because you don't have to do anything. It cheats for you. It gives you that energy by just putting yourself in within its reach. You dip
Right.
yourself in cold water. It gives you free energy. Okay, so you don't have to energize yourself. It's like I always see it as like if I look at that and say that's a battery. Every morning I got up with long COVID, my battery would completely be on red. Okay. When I get in the shower, what happens to me in those 3 minutes is it goes from red to green. So I'm fully charged again. Okay. But I don't have to do much to get that energy inside me. So I think that I've found the fact that I cheat when it comes to energy, and it allows me to do more stuff, to go out there. And I'm running now again. I'm actually running now again.
You're
So
running now.
I'm running. Yes,
Holy,
I'm
holy
in.
cow.
Yeah, I'm in a Santa Dash on Sunday, a 5K race, a Santa Dash down the
Wow.
road.
Good for you.
So it's allowed me to pick myself up and do the stuff that I never were able to do before. Yes, alcohol. I would never touch alcohol again because, I think it's something that A, poisons your body, and B, it's just because I've completely, as far as I'm concerned, refresh my body and my health. I'm not going to put anything in there or even
Yeah.
offer
Yeah, that's a
anything
good
up
point.
into my body, to give it an opportunity of ever failing again.
So here we are. You've come this far, and I can't believe that you're going into a race. I think that is fabulous, and I need people who have long COVID to hear that. I
Good.
think you've gone in 14 months. You've gone from zero to in a race. You're the same age as I am, so and we'll kind of mumble through that, but so here we are. Nigel has a story. What does Nigel want to do with that story now? What's your what's your longer plan for this? Do you want to
Well,
get involved with advocacy? Is that something that you want to do?
absolutely. I think what I've learned in this period of having my health and my life taken away from me is that I want to share the fact that I've got it back with people, and I think that I found something that has worked for me. Again, we know one size doesn't fit all, and it might not work for
Right.
everybody, but it will work for a lot of people. And the reason I say that is because if you look out there, not just Wim Hof from Holland who does the ice baths, but there are a number of organisations and social organisations that carry on cold water swimming for that very purpose of mental health issues and for other illnesses as well. It's happening. So what I want to do is I want to share with the long COVID and the chronic fatigue society or space, as it were, and say, look, it's worked for me. Okay, if it's worked for me, it could work for you. And what I want to do is I want to share that, it's only 3 minutes a day, okay, that you need
And it's
to
basically free.
it's free, it's sustainable,
It's free. Yeah.
it's clean, and you don't have to drive to the river or the sea or what have you. It's right there for you, okay. You can get off the couch. I mean, I want to sort of help people, and I'm calling it couch to recovery because that's exactly what it is. I've come off the couch and I've recovered, and I want to say to people, look, are you willing to prepare to employ 3 minutes of your day, okay, every day, to change your life? I'm asking that question. The
Yeah.
other question I'd ask is, if you are that bad and you're just existing, what are you prepared to do to get better? What is it you are prepared to do to get
Right.
better? Okay. And just hear me out now. I think, the medical world is doing a lot of things, okay, in order, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, to help people. But I just think that there isn't a silver bullet out there at the moment. And I think this really has worked for me, Larry. And I'm very passionate because I've researched this, and my whole life has become this cold water therapy in the showers. It's become my life, and I've researched it and written a program to share to people, and it's called T3. And what that is it's 6 days of breakthrough, 30 days of continuation, and to 3 months mastery. And what I'm saying to people is if you can do one day, just 3 minutes in that cold water, you can do six. If you can do six, you can do 30 days. If you can do 30 days, you can definitely do 3 months. And if you can do 3 months, you will change your life. I don't know how it might be. It might be along the same lines as myself, but I will guarantee, from my own point of view, that you will change your life.
So here's how my ears are hearing your advice. I'm going to call this Nigel's protocol, and I'm going to coin that for you. So this is going to be Nigel's protocol from this point forward. But here's what I'm hearing is that I measure things. Here's what the science community has taught. I'm not a scientist, nor do I want to be thought of as one, but I hang around really smart people. And they've taught me to understand how to measure risk to reward and to think in those terms, to not think so narrowly all the time. When I hear you talk about Nigel's protocol, what I'm hearing is very little risk. I mean, obviously, you'd want to talk to your doctor first. Is cold water
Absolutely.
going to be good for you?
Absolutely.
I can't believe that very many doctors are going to say, no, that's terrible for you, because you can always start off with warm and start knocking the temperature down as you go. I mean, you don't have to start straight cold. So there's not. So what I'm hearing is that one of the problems with having 500 million people with this condition is not, you've got most of those people have no money. A lot of those people are not working. They don't have the wherewithal to get the more sophisticated treatments that they might need, or the management issues that they might need with their long COVID. This is something that this Nigel's protocol is something they can take on themselves with some guidance from their primary care. And I think that's the brilliant part. When you can help a lot of people potentially get better. Everybody's going to have different types of recoveries. I've had a different kind of recovery. It's been long. It's been slow. I talk a lot slower than I used to. My cognitive abilities are slowly coming back, but I'm not sure I'll ever get them all back.
No.
But here's where I'm coming from when it comes to you, Nigel, is you're giving the gift of your experience to people who have the disease. I want to help you put that word out, not just with today's session, but I want to work with you after today's session on some social media strategies, and also introduce you to some social media influencers. I'm talking real influencers that have very big patient viewers. I don't have a patient-centric viewership. Mine are more scientists, consultants, governments. That's more of my follower base. I want to get you in touch with people that you can talk directly to their patients.
I much appreciate
and they can decide. Yeah. So, any closing thoughts, Nigel? Like, I'm going to put as much as I can about you in the space they give me at the bottom of these videos on my YouTube or on my other social media. So there's going to be ways. But do you want to give people your a way of getting in touch with you, or should you and I talk about that offline, and then I'll put that in my comments?
I think what it is, a couple of things. First of all, is I'm completely passionate about this, and my life revolves around this, and I seriously want to reach out to people and help people, those that really are looking to want to do something, and they're listening to this and thinking, I've got nothing out there coming. It's not going to come through the post. I want to do something, and if obviously their medical carer says that they're able to do it. I mean, if they've got bronchitis or they've got heart conditions, there's no way they can do this. There is a level of entry, and they have to be fit enough to enter that level without those issues. I mean, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm putting this program together because it's not easy. Even, it's that 3 minutes of cold water, Larry, it's still a discipline that people need to be aware of. And it's like to get in every day. A lot of people always, give themselves stories or reasons why not to do stuff. Okay. And I'm very much aware of that. So I'm putting something together which is personal. Okay. And I'll just be brief about it, but I think it's something that we could go into a bit more depth. And it's a program I'm building here for people. Is not is it giving them the recommendations of the water temperature and the water temperature times, but it's also they go through a personal pain profile. Okay, so what it is that I'm looking at, what's holding them back from taking any steps forward, and what is it they're looking to do? What's their three magic wishes? If they could have three magic wishes, what would it be? What's their goals? So I'm looking to find out what their goals are, and what's so important for them. It might be, I want my energy back to have a better life with my family.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's the big why. And that's so important. So we need to know what is it they're personally looking to do if they could get better. And I think we need to look at those as being trigger points. And that's how I'm building it into the program, because that's important, because people easily sort of sign up for things, but easily get off the track. Okay. So we want to keep people motivated. Not only that, we have, I'm looking at building into the platform real life stories where people can see real life videos of people that have, like myself, that not only have recovered from long COVID, fatigue, from migraines, from a whole source of other issues. And I think that helps create motivation to see other people, not just me. They need to hear it and see it from other people that there is a recovery to this. Okay. And that's around the globe. So we do. I'm putting together that as well. And the other thing is there's a book called Chill by Mark Harper. I have it here. Again, it's a very up to date. It's an incredible read. It's only a couple of years old, but it's on about
oh, very
lifestyle.
cool.
And this is like a Bible. When I was going through my early days of cold water therapy, this book was my Bible, and it's so inspirational and motivational.
Right,
It has all the science
that's
in there.
cool.
It's written by a doctor. He's not far from me. He lives in Brighton, not 45 minutes down the road.
Right,
He's a practicing doctor, but it's got all the science in there. It's got real life stories. So that becomes part of the program. And we also supply a blood pressure monitor, because blood pressure in people with these symptoms tends to be on a very high level. So we're going to supply a blood pressure monitor so people can take their readings in the mornings and take their readings at night. And with all these statistics of the blood pressure monitor and how they feel, I'm designing a daily tracking board. Okay, so they can see in visual how well they're doing, how their chronic pain is reducing, or how their stress levels is reducing, how their energy levels boosting, how their sleep has improved, how their blood pressure has come down on a daily basis. So we look to, in pie charts and graphs, they can actually track it. Okay, so they can actually sort of see their daily records of them improving, and over time, it's something that they can congratulate themselves on, and they can pat themselves on the back and say, look, this is working for me. So it's a whole
yeah,
visual opportunity for them, to see them progressing. So
yeah.
again,
When I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
I just said so. So I mean, there's more to the program, and I think there's something that perhaps we could go into in more depth. But I'm building this at the moment. I'm not far from completing it, but I just felt that all this information and discipline and inspiration and motivation that people need, I'm building for them, and I'm also going into their sort of what's important to them, their own personal pain. What's going to trigger them to do it. So I'm building that in there so that we can make sure that they're giving them every opportunity to succeed.
Well, here's what I know. I talk to a lot of innovators, and that's what you're doing right now. You're innovating, and you're innovating because you have experience. You're just not coming at this from a pure science perspective or a clinician perspective. Um, I do know at the patient level, many of the people that are hit the hardest are coming up 5 years now with long COVID. I know that
Wow.
that long COVID as a condition has only been around for 3.5 years
Yeah. Yeah.
because we didn't know this existed, and I know that many of those people are disabled, and so that I tend to lean towards when I hear them talk or when I read their words, they're at a point in their life where just the simplest thing is very hard.
Yeah.
So I like what you're doing from a perspective of even if they didn't take on all of your program in the beginning, they have a place to start, which is the immersion in cold water. It's just that simple. And then they can pick up on the rest of the issues you're talking about. Some of them can't even think that far. And when I say some of them, I'm not talking about a couple of hundred. I'm talking about a few million people. So
I could absolutely resonate with
so
that feeling.
I think what we have here right now is an opportunity for you to complete your tasks, get it up live, and then we do a repeat performance of this show with where are you now with your protocols.
Yep. Yep.
I think
Fantastic.
that's I think that's our next step together is
Okay,
as we
Larry.
get
Yeah.
this message out. Does that work for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I say I want to get this message out there. I want to give people the opportunity and show them what it's done for me, and that's how I live my life at the moment. That's exactly what I'm doing. This is my
Yeah,
complete
yeah,
focus. This
yeah,
is you know yeah, this is my journey. This is my
yeah.
journey. But yet, I
Well,
would be very welcome to that opportunity of sharing more with you once we have a more rounded and it's not too far off, Larry.
well, and I'm not bound by time. Like if it's a week from now, that's great. If it's 3 weeks from now, that's great. If it's January 5th, that's okay too. I'm
Yeah.
bound more by um, I kind of pick up on your enthusiasm, and I also pick up on your passion. And I there's nothing like that. I every time I all of the influencers that I've interviewed so far, the ones that really get me quickly are the ones that have long COVID and then have found a way to express their experience in helping with the condition. I'm actually leaving this session. I'm doing another session right after this with somebody in a
Bless you.
same but different. And
Yeah.
so,
Bless you.
final thoughts, Nigel. What have you got for me? What are your final thoughts?
Okay, well, my final thoughts are is that I am living proof of this process, and my complete passion is to be able to share this with people that are going through this just existence, this horrible long COVID, chronic fatigue, ME, and I just want them to get better, and that's
Okay.
if I can get one or two people over the line, then I should be a happy man. But I'm sure that I can get many more, and that's what I want to do, Larry.
Well, we're going to do that, and I'd be absolutely pleased if you'd let me help. So,
Well, we've already started. You've already started by giving me this platform, and I really
yeah,
appreciate your time, Larry. And it's always lovely to see you. And
yeah.
you've got a
Well,
very kind and great outlook, and I'm so glad that our paths have crossed.
well, we're gonna cross again, Nigel, very soon. So, thank you for your time, and have a great rest of your day, and we will catch up later.
Hey,
Bye
have a
bye.
great rest of the day and have a great weekend. And I look forward to speaking with you soon, Larry. You take care.
Yeah. Bye bye.